Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 65. Episode 65. Today we are going to clean up and wrap up both the NBA's season and the NHL's season. We're going to continue to talk about the Cardinals. Technically it's a winning streak, Luke. 3 is definitely a streak. Four. Sorry about that. And then we have a different type of segment today just because we have missed last week's show, which we are sorry about, but it is summertime and we both do have things going on, staying busy, and we are just in kind of the dog days of summer in terms of sports, but we are, like I said, going to clean up both the NHL and the NBA. And then a different type of segment today just called Other Things, which you will clearly just see is a mix of everything that we've kind of missed. And then we also have the wheel spins.
Yeah, and stuff that normally would be included in our regular segments, but we're choosing to just make it its own little segment, so it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then wheel spins.
All right. Yeah, and 2 wheel spins for the NFL as well at the end. So, yeah, we're going to just go ahead and get on into it. NBA Finals cleanup. And my first note, Luke, is not to brag, but I am 2-0 when it comes to predicting the winner and how many games the finals will be. 2 years in a row, I had the Warriors in 6. This year I had Nuggets in 5. And it was Nuggets in 5, sadly. The Heat just did not have enough for the Nuggets, and it was pretty clear early on in that series, actually. And just Game 5 recap, actually, the Heat actually played one of their better games in terms of their role players, and once again, Adebayo was dominant at the beginning of the game and then let off the gas. He just got so tired, which not entirely his fault. I mean, Cody Zeller, anytime they would put him out there, he would just get melted. It was pretty sad. But Michael Porter Jr. actually stepped up in Game 5. Shout out Mizzou, I guess. But he actually stepped up in Game 5 because all the other games, I don't know if he took a single NBA 3 in rhythm or any rhythm shots for that matter. But he was huge in Game 5, under the basket, points in the paint, just rebounding, actually hustling. He was probably their best player up until when Jokic finally started doing some stuff in the second half. But, Jimmy Butler, pretty mid in Game 5 as well until the very end where he had like a nice little 11 or 14 points in a row where he scored for the Heat. But then he had a turnover at the very, very end of the game that perfectly summarized his NBA Finals performance. Still a hell of a run for the Heat and Jimmy Butler, but, I mean, they clearly were just the lesser team. And they could have used Hero and probably Oladipo. I'll say that, too. So, Nuggets might have the makings of a dynasty, Luke.
They definitely do. This is the start. I was under the impression that Hero was going to play in Game 5. I think he was available, but he just never got the chance to play. I was actually camping for this game, so I didn't watch any of it, but I was following along. And when I saw that the Heat were only up by like 6 at halftime, I told my dad, I was like, it's over. They're not going to win this game. They're not going to hold on. And sure enough, they had many chances at the end of the game to get it done. They just couldn't make any shots, and they went out in a sad fashion. And sure enough, all 4 games that they lost, they failed to score 100 points. So when you're going up against the Nuggets, it's going to be hard to win if you don't score 100 points. It's going to be hard to win in just today's NBA if you don't score 100 points. So, I mean, if they're talking about addressing needs in the offseason, get some offense. I mean, their defense played really good. They held the Nuggets to low scores most of the games. If they just had, another offensive threat that could, maybe a post player or something. But yeah, they just weren't quite good enough to get over that hump of the Nuggets. And unfortunately for us, Stan Kroenke wins yet another championship. And was congratulated by the Mizzou account, which we may talk about later, but that was a tough scene. To see Mizzou just congratulate Stan Kroenke and his son on winning the championship, which they are alumni, but I mean they're not really alumni. It's like the Amish family. Like if you go into it, like the Amish family, but as soon as you leave, it's disgraceful and you're just shunned for the rest of your life. That's kind of like Stan Kroenke and his son. They were a part of the family, but they left and now they're shunned forever. So I don't really appreciate that tweet from the Mizzou account, but um, yeah, that's my thoughts on the series. It was it was close games most of the games. There were some quarters that were blowouts and stuff, like Game 4 that kind of got away from the Heat, or no, that was Game 3 that got away from the Heat. Um, I'm thinking one of those two games. Can't remember. That was like a week ago, but yeah, the
Yeah.
NBA season's over, and Cam got it right again. So shout
Yeah.
out to him.
It was actually always the third quarter where the Nuggets would pull away every single time. So even because that's how
Yeah, kind of like
exactly
the
how it was in
Warriors.
Game 5 too. Exactly just like the Warriors would do as well. Um, I guess the when you look at the NBA landscape, um, it's wide open. Obviously, the Nuggets are the best team, but it's still wide open because this is like the first time in a while where there's just really not a Warriors type esque team or even the Nets, even though it didn't work out. But you looked at that team and you're like, wow, they have so much talent. It's really not. It's much more spread out. There's a lot of just like we always talk about, me and Luke, how NBA is star driven. I mean, and it's pretty evened out right now. I mean, yes, the Nuggets are the deepest team, but I mean, you look around the league, Mavericks, Luca,
Are they really that deep though? I mean,
who the
they
Nuggets?
played with what 7, 8 guys the whole playoff run. Like they just have such a good core group of guys. Like
Yeah,
their
I mean,
stars play like stars, Murray and Jokic, and then their role players do their part. Everyone just has a part on the team. They're not exactly like a deep team. Outside of their top 8 guys, they really don't have anyone who plays.
well, you always say in the NBA, you play seven, but you trust eight. I think that's how it goes. I think that's the saying, or maybe it's you trust eight, you play seven, or I think that's exactly what I just said. I can't remember, but it's
Yeah,
it's
that is
some
exactly what you
it's
said.
some NBA saying like that, and so they at least have that.
Trust 7,
Um,
play 8.
although shit, I mean, let's take a look here. I mean, Jokic, Porter, Murray, uh, Gordon, and then who else would usually start? I mean, they would. I feel like they would just slide in just about any other guy. I mean, they
Yeah,
would
I
because they
think
had Jeff.
KCP made a lot of
Yes,
starts.
KCP started a lot because they always had him shooting on the perimeter, especially to open the games. So that's your starting five, and then they had a bunch of different
And then
guys
also
playing
Bruce
minutes.
Brown started some games.
Yeah, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green played. I couldn't believe how good Jeff Green still is. Like I swear he's better now than when he played with LeBron. Like that's just wild. And then Christian Braun had an incredible, I think, game 4, like unreal game 4, and he's probably just going to get better as well. Um, I think
He
we're
went back to
missing
back.
somebody. Yeah, Kansas and the Nuggets. Shit, that
I
sucks.
think the biggest takeaway from this series is just simply that Nikola Jokic has officially taken the league as the best player. And the NBA, I mean, he seems like a good star. I wasn't sure how he was going to be, you know, how he would do with the best player in the world title. He seems to be doing a phenomenal job, just, handling the media and the attention that comes with that. Could be doing a little better, but I think he's undoubtedly like the number one player now. Everyone knows who he is. He's going to be the guy for years to come, like one of the stars in the league, and it's like one of the first really international stars ever, which is really cool. But I mean, this is the guy that he could really change the NBA. Just his play style, it it could really open up a whole nother avenue of players to enter the league, which is really cool. But
Yeah.
that's all I got on the NBA Finals. If you
Yep.
want to move on to NHL, you
Same.
got some more.
Nope.
All right,
No. Although the draft is this Thursday,
I'll let you take this
and
one.
and
Yeah,
Woj
that's true.
said he's not going to leak picks this time, so that's interesting. NHL Finals
He's respecting.
cleanup. Yeah, he is, and it's about time actually. Um, NHL Finals cleanup. Uh, I had to watch Game 5 because originally, if you remember
Me too.
back, I said I would watch Game 4. I think I said, and then I couldn't because I was at the horse races on that Saturday, so I mandatorily had to watch Game 5, which I was very much dreading, as Luke knows. But it was actually a blowout, and I'm forever indebted to the Vegas Knights. And we joke, and because while hockey is numbing to watch without your team actually playing in it, that game was actually awesome. 11 goals. Like, you didn't have to wait
Mm-hmm.
very long in between goals. Like, when you're watching soccer or hockey and it's like a defensive showdown and it's like a 2-1 final, and, one of the goals was scored at the very beginning of the game and all the goals are really spread out. Not this game. They were just firing the puck into the net all night long, mostly Vegas. So, yeah. And of course, the Stanley Cup trophy ceremony was really great, as always. That's my
Yeah,
favorite one to watch, and I don't even like hockey that much. I like the Super Bowl. I'd say if I had to rank them, I would say Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, and I don't know who to pick over the MLB or NBA because MLB can be pretty
it
cool
doesn't
too.
matter. It's the same presentation.
Yeah, it is, but I feel like it depends on who wins. Like, like LeBron's first ever title as with the Cavs, that was pretty sick. But I feel like there's also been some really cool firsts for like, I hate to say it, but when the Cubs won the World Series, that was pretty unreal. That trophy ceremony. So those are the same year, actually. Now that I think about it, Summer of Harambe.
It was a good year for sports that year.
It was a great year for sports. Um, uh, a bunch of Blues got another ring from this series.
Yeah,
Petrangelo and one more that I'm blanking on.
Ivan
Luke,
Barbashev.
yes, Barbashev. Um, so me and Luke had different
Barbashev
feelings
actually
about
played
that.
for the Blues this year. Yeah,
Yes, he
so
did. We were like, well, it's nice to see at least your guys get a ring, even because the Blues sucked. But then also, it's like, well, your guys get a ring without the Blues. It's kind of tough, but I still
just the
felt
day
good
after
for him.
Kroenke gets a ring too.
Yeah, it's just like I
So
said, St. Louis is just kind of going through it right now, and we'll be back. I think
yeah, we'll be
maybe.
back. Cam, I'm going to explain your situation a little bit. So, if you don't remember, 2 shows ago, the Ryan Josephs interview, after that, we said that we would watch some games of the NHL Finals. We both agreed to watch Game 7, which didn't happen, so we didn't have to worry about it.
Thank
You
God.
said Game 4. I said Games 1 and 5. Now, I explained the situation about Game 1 last week on the show. Game 5, I missed about the first 8 minutes. But I watched it together. Since you couldn't watch Game 4, you watched Game 5 with me. And we had a clause in there that said if the team is up by 3 goals or more going into the third period, you can turn it off. That's the blowout clause. And so you were rooting hard for that. And sure enough, it hit. I think it was 6-1. They were up by 5 going into the third period. So, I mean, all the fans in the stadium pretty much knew. They're like 20 more minutes and we're champions because, we're not going to blow a 5-goal lead in a quarter. I watched the whole game though.
Me too. Remember, I just moved it off my main TV. I still had it on. It was just nice.
Mhm.
I was
Yeah,
able to
that's
do
true.
that. Thank you to the Vegas Knights. I'm forever indebted for that.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think the first 8 minutes there was like nothing that happened, and as soon as I turned it on, Vegas scored a goal, and Cam was like, "Luke, you were the key," and maybe I was the key because in 52 minutes they scored 11 goals.
Oh
So
yeah, I remember I was pissed that you weren't watching it yet because I was just sitting through it. I staring
I
at
would
my TV, no goals, nothing, just waiting for Luke to start watching this with me because I was dreading it. I was going
okay.
through it.
Sorry, I have a job. I was out there grinding. I was, getting my gains. The game was listed
We
to
had a
start at seven
job,
o'clock.
Luke.
I don't
We
think it
had a
started.
job.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I had other so I didn't get off till 7:15. That's about the same time the puck dropped. So as soon as I got home, I turned it on. I just ended up missing a little bit. I turned it on as soon as I could, but you were very pissed. But yeah, the game was good for a hockey game. I can say that. I don't know if I would have enjoyed watching the whole series, but for that one game, I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's a sport that it fails to captivate me as much as the other ones. I couldn't even tell you why. Maybe it's because I don't understand it as much, but um, yeah, I mean, it was the Vegas was one of the best teams all season. And I mean, what they've done as a franchise in just 6 years is insane. They've been to two finals. They finally get a cup here. Their captain, who was on their original team, he's been a Vegas Golden Knight lifelong, all 6 years. He scored a hat trick in Game 5, so that's pretty cool. He's the first player to score a hat trick in a finals clinching game since like 1920 or something. Um, that's pretty cool for that. And yeah, I mean, it was a shout out to Florida. They had a great run. Upset some pretty good teams, but Vegas was the best team all along. And well, maybe Boston, but Vegas was certainly up there as one of the favorites to win the title. So shout out to them. Their fans seem to just be so passionate about hockey. I couldn't tell you about the Raiders or how they're going to be about the A's, but hockey they seem to be a hockey town, which is really weird. Just in the middle of a desert, um, to be a hockey town, but they go wild over there for the Knights. It's like their own little thing. So
I think they might have just, Vegas is actually a pretty new city in the United States in terms of how old it is. Like if you just go back, like I think it's like 60 or 70 years, the Strip wasn't even there. Like everything's new when it relatively to the rest of the cities in the United States. Um, and this is like their first few sports teams. Obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights got there first before the Raiders. And they are big Raiders fans too, but the Raiders just haven't had as much success as the Golden Knights because they like sell out that place almost every weekend. I feel like, um,
yeah, but also
it's
like the Raiders came from another city, so
yeah,
it has to
true,
feel like a little bit like, well, I'm sharing this team. Vegas, the Knights, that's their team. It's
yeah.
all theirs. So
Well,
it's a little different that way.
do you think LA feels like they're sharing a team with St. Louis? Because we don't, we say F
Uh,
the Rams now. But they were
well, there
also in
are
LA
many
first,
Rams
I
fans here.
guess. I don't know. There are
Yeah,
some. I
it's a
wouldn't
little
say
different.
many. I wouldn't say many. I mean, there's like I know one Rams fan. I can only name one other Rams fan still. Isaac Burr. Shout out Isaac Burr. Still a Rams fan even though they left us. That's it. Can you name
Yeah,
one?
dedication. Yeah, my pastor at my church.
Hmm.
He's a Rams fan. He was closeted for a while. He didn't come out until a few. It was the year before they won the Super Bowl is when he officially came out and like started wearing their gear. He was embarrassed for a while, which you know what I respect that the embarrassment for it, but
Oh,
sometimes you just gotta embrace it. So
I just thought of another one. Technically a coworker works in the New Haven branch. Denny Lamke. Shout out Denny
mm.
Lamke. Also a passionate Rams fan still, even though they left.
I guess it's just kind of like separating the artist from the music. With certain
Mm,
people, you got to separate the team from the owner. I guess they're able to do that, which I can't do it. I can't do it for sports. I can do it
I
for music,
can't.
but
I can't do it for Cronky's not Kanye. No, he's not.
that's true. Um, yeah, let's get off this topic here before we go down a deep road. Let's talk something that has been demoralizing all year, but starting to swing up for at least for a little bit here. The Cardinals, they just won their fourth straight game. Literally just like 10 minutes ago, it went final. Blew out the Nats. have been playing better baseball, but they also have been playing some very feeble teams with the Mets and the Nationals. So I mean, you can take it with a grain of salt, but it is good to see them actually finally winning games again. I'm still not back in. I'm still in my hiatus. I did take it. I did watch the game yesterday from like the fourth inning on.
Great
I was
game,
just missing.
actually. Fun game.
It was a great game. I was just missing sports so much because I haven't watched the Cardinals in like 2 weeks. Um, and then obviously with no finals for a week, it was like, man, maybe I'll just slide in here. I got off work early and I was like, I'm just gonna watch some of the game. Um, didn't watch tonight though, so I'm back on the hiatus. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks until the All Star game, which is when the hiatus is over. So, but I did watch yesterday. It was fun because we won. Jordan Hicks has emerged as the closer in Ryan Helsley's injury absence. That's kind of just a wild thing. I remember just a few months ago on the show, we were talking about how Jordan Hicks sucked and he needed to go. And now he's like closing out games he's back to, I don't know. I don't even know if you could say back. This might just be peak
No,
Jordan Hicks.
this is Hicks mania.
Yeah.
I'm establishing Hicks mania. He is on one right now.
Oh, yeah. He definitely is. And hopefully it lasts for a while. I mean, if you take out his month of April, he has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. I mean, May, he only had like one game where he gave up runs. And obviously he slammed the door for 3 games in a row. He got a break today, but this is insane. 2 Hicks manias going on right now. The Jordan Hicks for the Cardinals and Aaron Hicks for the Orioles, who signed him after the Yankees released him. So a couple of Hicks manias going on right now in baseball. But I certainly like it for the Cardinals. But I mean, we're still 12 games under 500, so you can take it for what it is. We
Yeah.
gotta win if we want to come back, though. So I guess just winning a bunch. And Cincinnati just won their 10th straight game, and they are
Yep.
in the division lead.
Yep. They just
They're winning the
surpassed the
division by
Brewers
multiple
yesterday.
games. Yep. So I mean, that's just how crazy this division is. I mean, just two maybe 3 weeks ago, let's say the Reds were in last in the division just 3 weeks ago. And now they went on a 10-game winning streak, and now it looks like they're going to run away with the Central. All it's going to take is just them to start falling off and just another team. So, I mean, Cardinals have been in this position before. We were 11 games out going into the last month in 2011. It might have been 10 games, actually. Don't, don't correct me on that. And at this time in 2006, we were way under 500 too in mid-June. Those are 2 years we won the World Series. So it's not over yet. People giving up. I pushed the panic button, but I didn't give up. I want to give up. I actually told my mom like 2 weeks ago. I was like, remind me every day when I wake up that I don't care about this Cardinals team. And she did, but it has no impact. I'm so into it. And man, this is I mean, I just having the 4-game winning streak, it's like giving me hope again. And I know what's going to happen is that we're probably going to like fight all the way back, and then the last week of the year we're going to blow it and miss the playoffs, and then it's like, well, I got invested for nothing. The Packers this year did the same thing, so that's how I know it's going to happen. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's good. It's just good to have a little bit of hope here going into the All Star break. I mean, we still got plenty of time before the All Star break, but yeah. And one other thing that we should mention: the Cardinals are going to London. They're playing the first ever game in Great Britain against the Cubs this weekend. 2 games, some early games. First one's at 12:10, and the next one's at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. So some weird times there, unusual times, but it is Great Britain time. So just a little interesting tidbit for that. That'll be a cool thing to do. Cubs are getting hot though, so
Yeah. I guess shout out Morgan. He went to the game and the Nationals game yesterday with the Cardinals. He saw a sweet game.
yeah, no kidding.
So yeah.
So
All right.
yeah, is that all you got on the Cardinals? That's about all I got.
I
Just
had one
there's not
thing.
much you can.
I guess this is going to lead us into our
Other
other
things?
things segment. To start it off here, David
Fair enough.
Freese declined an invitation to the Cardinals Hall of Fame or Ring of Honor or whatever, the Cardinals Hall of Fame. He doesn't think he earned it, which I kind of agree with him. I know he won World Series MVP, and you only have so many of those, and that maybe on its own should get you in. But when you look at him compared to some of the other Cardinal greats who are also in the actual Hall of Fame, and just to some of the other Cardinal greats and Cardinal Hall of Famers, his stats don't really match up at all. For anything, really. I think his career ended up with like 44 home runs. Maybe I think his final average is like 276 or something like that. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, he was very
Um,
mid.
yeah. Besides, although I think he was pretty good in 2012. Actually, the year after he did win
He was an
MVP.
all-star.
But yeah, but after that, I mean, that was pretty much it. So
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading his statement, I was shocked. I was like, "Whoa," because I'd never seen anyone decline an invitation to the Hall of Fame before. So I was like, "Well, is this like a personal thing or whatever?" And I read the whole thing, and it's like I don't really feel like I match up with the guys in the Hall of Fame. And I was like, "Well, you know what? That actually makes sense because he was good for the second half of 2011, and obviously he was like insane in the postseason, won NLCS World Series MVP. He's a legend forever for the Game 6 shenanigans that he created." And then he had a really good year in 2012. He was an all star, way really good year. And then 2013, he just really, really struggled. And then after 2013, we traded him for Peter Borges. So, I mean, he had a really short career here. It was like 3.5 years. I think he played a little bit in 2010. So it was a short career, and it wasn't exact. I mean, it ended really badly in 2013. Um, but he had what, a year and a half of good baseball and just one really incredible postseason, and that was it. So I mean, I get it, I get where he's coming from, but still, I mean, you can't write Cardinals history without David Freese, and I think that's what the DeWitts were like in their statement. They're like, well, he's always welcome back at Busch Stadium, and the fans definitely will always welcome him back because there's a lot of fans like my age, maybe even a little older, that remember that World Series, and that's what really made them fall in love with baseball and especially the Cardinals. That was the first year I really watched baseball, was that year. And they won the World Series, and it wouldn't have happened without David Freese. So um, he's my favorite player for a number of years. So maybe I have a little bit of a soft spot for that, and I hope that one day he does decide that he wants to be part of the Cardinals Hall of Fame because that would be really cool. But I definitely get his decision, and it's his decision. It's not mine to judge. So it's my stance on it.
yeah, interesting thing to see happen.
Yeah,
All right,
definitely.
other things. Number one on other things, Luke. We're kind of gonna rattle these off and just talk about them quickly. And here we go. Bradley Beal is a son, and it happened pretty fast just the other day. Chris Paul had no idea it was happening. He found out on a plane that he was on from his son, and which is a crazy way to find out. And so technically, he's a Washington Wizard. And there was an incredible amount of tweets actually brought up on Twitter from many, many years ago that said that CP3 was going to be a Wizard in trade for Bradley Beal. So there's always those hot takes that
Flaming hot take.
come back. Yeah, flaming hot takes that come back that are always crazy to see on Twitter. But yeah, this actually does. We were talking about how there's not really any super teams anymore right now at this current state in the NBA. Well, if you want to say that there is one, here's probably your best one: Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal is more of just a sensational scorer. Um, so here's what I think
Well,
about this,
hold
Luke.
on. Hold on. You said Bradley Beal is a sensational scorer. Kevin Durant is regarded as one of the best scorers of all time.
Exactly.
Devin Booker, the last 2 years, has been one of the best scorers in the league. This team is just all scorers. That, to me, is a huge problem. Now, granted, scoring is a huge part of the game, but So is defense. So is ball control. So is team chemistry. You got to have more than just scoring, and that's what worries me about this team. Is that it's 3 stars, but they all do the same thing.
Well,
So
I think what might happen, because last year was the first time I've ever seen Kevin Durant take like a secondary role ever. He kind of took it to Devin Booker. Devin Booker still kind of ran the show in terms of scoring and stuff like that most of the time. And this is where I think it could work. Is what if you just kind of continue to run the show the way it was, Devin Booker and KD, and don't get me wrong, Bradley Beal is probably going to start, but like what if he comes on the court when those two aren't on the court, and then you don't lose that scoring threat, and that would be actually that's where this could really work out. Is Devin Booker and KD are off the court. We're not a very deep team. But we still have Bradley Beal, who's literally always close to the top in terms of scoring leaders, because obviously the Wizards had absolutely nobody except Beal. And that it could be like the same situation when KD and Devin Booker are off the court. They could just have Beal be that guy. But obviously he is probably still going to start at times. So we'll just see how it works out. He could end up playing kind of like an Andrew Wiggins type of role. I know Wiggins actually wasn't even as much of a scorer as Bradley Beal, even though Andrew Wiggins' scoring numbers, if you actually look at them, they're like better than Kawhi Leonard's over his career, which is always mind-boggling to remember that. But Bradley Beal could have an impact like that, and maybe because this might be one of Kevin Durant's last chances to truly win a ring. Yeah.
I mean, this is yet another player that has been at one team his whole career, and then he goes to another team. It's just the way the NBA works now. It's really hard it's rare to see one player stick their whole career with one team. But if you look at the other side of it, I mean, shout out Dame Lillard, by the way, because he might get traded, but right now he's still a Portland Trailblazer for life. The other side of the trade is obviously Chris Paul. You mentioned that. Wizards get multiple second-round picks. And they also get Landry Shamet, which, if you remember the crazy Game 7 stat, which was so close to happening this year, all the Suns needed to do was win one more game, and then Landry Shamet would have extended a streak to 5 straight Game 7 losses in the second round. So if you're the Wizards, it's kind of a guy you want, because if it means you're going to lose Game 7 in the second round, I'm sure Wizards fans they'd be enthralled with that. They'd be like, let's go. We're winning a playoff series. So that is significant, but the Chris Paul, it just doesn't really feel like he's going to stay on the Wizards. Like when the season starts, he's not going to be a Washington Wizard. It feels like he's going to get flipped again.
They'll probably buy him out, actually.
Yeah.
That's what I think will happen.
He's going to go to a contender. Guy like him and his caliber at his current place in his career, he's just not going to stay with the Wizards. Some destinations, I think I've seen the Celtics is a big one. Celtics fans really want him, which he would, if you really think about it, he would kind of fit their system, but would also guarantee that they don't win a ring next year. The Clippers, him going back to the Clippers is one.
I've seen a lot of that,
which is kind of cool, going back to his old stomping grounds.
And then Lakers.
So
I've seen the Lakers as well.
That's where I want him to go. I think that would be a great spot, because the Lakers kind of need someone like that can, they can hit clutch shots, cut the lead down to 42 and pass the ball around. Just to be a facilitator of offense, because they don't really have, other than LeBron, which he's not bad, but he's also, that's not his specialty. If LeBron's facilitating offense, you're taking away other parts of this game that he really dominates at. So to have someone else do that, I think would be huge for that team. But yeah, it's an interesting trade. I'm interested to see how it works out, and happy for Bradley Beal that he finally got out of Washington.
All right. Next up, Zion and his whole feud with his former porn star girlfriend has really heated up. She has really been just threatening extortion pretty much the past couple of days, saying that she's going to leak their sex tapes online if the Pelicans don't trade them, which is That's crazy to throw that in there.
Yeah.
That's her clause that the Pelicans need to trade him, otherwise she's leaking it. Although it does look like Zion might be winning this right now because the chick's or Twitter just got taken down. So
Shout out Elon.
yep, shout out Elon for that. Um, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. But apparently Zion's has like no relationship with any of his other teammates. The front office has no relationship with Zion right now, and it looks like his trade value has decreased significantly. I still think he's
It's just
a
very weird.
stud. He's still a stud at the end of the day, but who knows what this is gonna lead to? I mean, is he gonna end up like on a shitty team? Is he gonna go somewhere like Portland? Are they gonna keep him around because he's that good, or like what's gonna happen here? Um, so yeah, we'll see about
It's a
Zion here.
rough day for the top of the 2018 draft class, as we'll
Oh,
get to with
very
John Morant
rough.
here in a second.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it was 2018 was that year, and everyone was like, "It's the Zion lottery," kind of like this year with the Wembanyama lottery. And John Morant was the consensus number 2 pick, and then there was like a huge gap between everyone else. Like these were the top 2 guys in the draft. Everyone else was below, and now like they're both troubled. Zion's played maybe one full season combined, like with all of his games total. John Morant is, now he's been suspended twice, this time for 25 games. And it just seems like these guys have so much off court stuff. And I mean, the guys that say, you know, big cities, big markets play, they're kind of winning right now because both these guys went to one of the smallest markets in the NBA, Memphis and New Orleans, and they're both struggling. So, who's to say if the Knicks won that lottery or got second if things wouldn't
Yeah.
be a little different? So, just a little weird to think about, but yeah, rough time for the 2018 draft class.
Yeah. Two studs too,
If you're
They're
gonna get
still
involved,
studs. It's not like they're
yeah,
busts. So, all right.
not
Next
yet.
one. This was just an
Maybe we'll get into the John
unreal
Morant one right
story.
now.
Okay, yeah, we'll just jump to that one. So yeah, Josh suspended
Yeah,
25 games at the start of next season for his gun thing, which I think was like a month ago now, or maybe a month and a half ago. I don't remember how long ago. It's been a little bit. He's on a roll with not flashing any guns. Actually, when you think about it, it's been a while. But yeah, the NBA did finally suspend him for like an actual lengthy amount of time, not just the Grizzlies suspending him. Um, yeah, it's kind of just back to what Luke said. It's just not going well for that part of the draft class. But it almost
it's the
feels like
2019 draft class.
okay. Yeah, I think it
So
was 2018 LaMelo
that was Marvin
and
Bagley.
Marvin Bagley. Okay, yeah. Um, lost my train of thought here. Oh, I mean, just playing in a city like Memphis, which me and Luke have acknowledged is one of the most dangerous cities in the United States. It truly is. So I could actually understand wanting to have a gun on you at pretty much all times while you're in that city, no matter what. But obviously, he did cross multiple lines, and the big one being bringing the gun on the plane, which was honestly probably the biggest issue out of everything. And then just continuing to flash the gun on Instagram Live, and then that's your only job is to not flash a gun on Instagram Live, and yet he can't get past that one, Luke. That's the one thing he can't do. So it is
Yeah,
sad.
yeah. I mean, it's like his one defense is like, well, it's a toy gun. Like I light my candles with it. Like that's if you're gonna be suspended for flashing a gun, at least make it like a respectable gun. Like I'm not gonna try to be that guy that says, oh yeah, you should flash some guns, but if you're getting suspended for a toy gun, that's kind of sad. And speaking of the 2019 draft, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. The two guys that were like the only thing that can stop them is the off court things. Off court things are stopping them. Everyone else is like, well, if they pan out, this is the top like 15 here. RJ Barrett, he's kind of good. DeAndre Hunter hasn't really done much. Darius Garland, he's good. Jarrett Culver, Kobe White, Jackson Hayes, Rui Hachimura, he's kind of good. Cam Reddish, Cam Johnson, PJ Washington. That's the top 12. That's rough.
There actually are. All those guys are still playing, though. Usually you have guys in the top 12 of a draft class that aren't playing anymore. There wasn't a single one that I
Hold on.
don't think is not playing.
Let me read off the next 8. So 13 through 20. Tyler Hero, still a good player. Then here it gets rough. Romeo Langford, Siku Dubois, Chuma Okiki, Nikhil Alexander Walker, Goga Bitadze, Lucas Simonik, and Matisse Thibault. That's a yikes.
Yeah, I think half those guys are still in the league, but some of them I don't even recognize.
It's rough.
But
all right,
still
you want to get
a
into
gem,
some other ones
Tyler
here?
Hero there. Yeah. Next story here and other things. 4-star quarterback Justin Simmons is skipping his junior and senior years of high school and joining Ole Miss right now. So this is just a bonkers story, Luke. And me and my dad were just mind blown about how this is possible. So think about that. He'll be 17 on an SEC practice field right now. Actually, he is getting ready for the fall season. Obviously, he's not going to play. I think Walker Howard transferred in to play quarterback for them this year, and maybe they already had somebody else for the competition as well. But eventually, he probably will play and/or transfer out. That's just how it is. This kid had a 5.34 GPA, and that is what made this all possible. So usually, it sounds crazy. How is a 5.34 GPA possible? Well, apparently this kid was just taking like nothing but AP classes and honors classes, which can be weighted differently, allowing you, I guess, more to max out your high school credits earlier, and then also qualify to leave high school early and go to college. So, but I mean, this is a true kid. Think about that. He just finished his sophomore year at high school. He hasn't even finished. I mean, that is just unreal to me. He's going to be a kid out there on that field. I would like to see what his like muscle mass and stuff like that looks like. Not to be a weirdo, but just to see what he's walking into with the type of quarterback body type that he has going on right now. So, yeah, we'll see. Good luck, Justin. Next thing here
Justin Simmons is a good football name too.
Yeah, that's a safety for the Broncos. Damn good one. So
is he still on the Broncos?
He should be, I believe.
Okay.
Next story though, I'll let Luke talk about this after I say it, but Jordan Love might be a fucking dumbass. Pretty embarrassing stuff here on Father's Day, Luke. He may or may not have called Bears fans his daddies.
Yeah, it was. I understand what he was trying to do, and I heard someone say it this week that was, it's like he thinks he's Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers like says, "Oh, Bears fans better wish me a happy Father's Day" or something, that's funny because Bears fans know that. They're like, "Yes, Aaron Rodgers, he's my father. He owns me." Jordan Love has played one game and one quarter. The one game he sucked, and the one quarter he had zip. He's never played against the Bears ever. He has no right to say that. You know, even if he said it correctly, where it's like Bears fans better wish me a happy Father's Day, just simply because I play for the Packers, I still wouldn't be on top of that. But the fact that he tried to do that, which is bad, but then messed it up and was like, "Happy Father's Day, Bears fans." That just made it so much worse. And this is not a good start to the Jordan Love era. I guess he has zip, but he does seem a little stupid to start off here, which is not good for a guy who is turnover prone. Because that probably leads to some turnovers, just being a little dumb and just being a little too cocky here. Like, dude, you haven't played a snap against the Bears. Like, how about you chill out? The Bears are having their own little joint over there that they're getting excited about, and I think this just sent like a life into Bears fans. It's like, well, you know what? Maybe he's all talk, and it's worrying me a little bit here. But we do play the Bears week 1, so that's going to be a huge game because I can tell you right now, we're going to lose that game. The Bears are going to win that game, and the Bears fans are going to be all over it, like, "Oh, dynasty's over. Jordan Love sucks." They're going to bring up this quote and be like, "Yeah, he messed it up. We are his daddy or whatever." And then the Bears are probably going to lose like every game the rest of the year. So hopefully they enjoy their Week 1 Super Bowl. I'm calling it right now. That's what's going to happen. This would be on a tough scene if we were doing tough scene of the week, though. This is the tough scene of the week, number 1. But yeah, not a good start. I don't like it. It's very bad vibes to start off the Jordan Love era.
Yeah, there really aren't any worse vibes that you could have after that. I mean, two big things there. He hasn't done shit, and then he messed it up horrendously. So yeah, I do really, really like that you said when you were talking about him, he's played one game in one quarter, and one game he sucked, but one game he had zip. So we still are holding on to that as Jordan Love truthers out there. So he does have zip, and we are holding on to that. So yeah.
All right, and then the last thing here on the other things list, we'll try to go faster. We're trying to do under an hour for the people. Bob Huggins he left, he stepped down, but we all know that's because he was fired. But they just gave him the option to step down, so it looked better because he is a legendary coach. He's in the Hall of Fame for college basketball. But I think we talked about it a while ago. It was many weeks ago, where he went on the air and he just said many homophobic slurs, just casually dropped them multiple times. He said it. And West Virginia made him like take a class on,
Was it homo? I can't remember if it was
LGBT rights.
homophobic or if he
It
just
was the
said
F word.
effing. He just said effing Catholics. I think he said that too, like talking about Xavier. I think. You remember that
Yes.
too? Like he
He
called
said
them effing Catholics.
he said Catholic F words. He said Catholic F words. The homophobic F word. So yeah, he said that twice, and so they made him like apologize, and he took a class or whatever, and they put him on probation, and then over the weekend he got caught in Pittsburgh with a BAC of 0.22, I believe, which is nearly
0.21.
3 times the legal limit. 0.21. It's nearly 3 times the legal limit. And so, of course, he got the DUI, his second of his career, and that was just the final straw. You can't do that when you're in probation. I think I heard that he like thought he was in Columbus, but he was in Pittsburgh. So that's a tough scene. But I mean, he is a legendary coach of the game. It's weird. This is a weird time because he did just kind of tear up the transfer portal, and now all the transfers are like, well, we're not playing for Bob Huggins next year. So it's a weird time for West Virginia. They got to find a new coach very quickly, kind of after all the good ones have been, taken off the board. Yeah, I mean, weird.
Yeah, tough scene. I mean, a legend of the game, always on the sidelines. Big 12 basketball, year in and year out, gone. Probably forever. I mean, he's getting old, so that was probably it. If I had to say,
Yeah,
if I had to guess, so
he just
yeah.
seems like a guy to me that's going to take like some years to himself, just enjoy some of his retirement, and then he's going to come back and do some media in some way, shape, or form. He does seem like a media guy,
I
which
don't know.
is weird, but I
I
do
think he's
think
probably
just because
just gonna
he's just
die.
such he's a smart basketball guy. So
I think
I
he's
guess that
probably
could
gonna
happen too.
take.
But
If I had to guess, I would say he's gonna take like 2 or 3 years, and then he's actually probably gonna just die in that fourth year.
Okay, do you want to bet on that?
Uh,
Say no. You have to say no. You can't bet on someone's life. That's
you can't.
one thing that's off limits. Nope, can't do it. You
Because
can
I
bet
was
on the
thinking
Special
about it.
Olympics now, but
I
you
was,
can't bet on someone's life. So
because I was like, how are we
it's
gonna
bad.
keep track of
That's
this?
bad juju. And then one last thing here in the other notes. before we get to the NFL wheel spins. It is NFL related. So, Patriots cornerback, probably going to be a starting cornerback this year. Jack Jones, he got arrested and he's facing up to 30 years in prison
See ya, bitch.
because at the airport he got caught with multiple firearms going through the airport, which is like a big no-no. Um, he probably picked the worst possible spot to bring firearms into, if you really think about it. So he's facing up to some pretty lengthy jail time. He's already cut by the Patriots. He's probably never going to play in the NFL again. But the real tough scene about this is when John Morant got caught flashing the gun on Instagram, May 15th of this year, Jack Jones tweeted out and he said, at John Morant, dumb, ... You letting social media and your pride ruin your real money. Put them guns down and run that money up. Make one of your homies sign up for security or concealed carry if you feel like you need it that bad, ... But you, the breadwinner, you got to start acting like it. And and then a month later, he himself brings firearms into an airport. So big hypocrite moment there.
Incredible. That's just the ultimate. I don't even know. I mean, how do you do that to yourself? Um, I don't know. Who said?
You gonna get the wheel spins, close out the show here?
Yes.
All right, so last time I think it was the Colts and Raiders that we did. So, all right, here we go. One for the spin. Good spin, Luke. Oh, 49ers. All right, I don't know if we did these last year. I know we had them on our list, but I'm not sure if we actually did the 49ers.
I got to write this down in my notes.
All right, you got a timer pulled up? I don't know if I got to gather some thoughts here on the Niners.
49ers. Okay. I got my stopwatch. Okay.
All right, you going first on this one? Are you ready?
I'm gathering my thoughts. I'm gathering my thoughts. Okay. Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the quarterback situation is quite shaky. I don't know if the Purd monster is going to be back by the start of the season. And if not, I guess they'll go with Trey Lance. I don't really know. They do still have some studs coming back pretty much at just every other position, and one of the best coaches. Probably going to win the division, actually, if I had to guess. So, yeah, Luke, your turn. Go.
I mean, this is one of my least favorite teams in football. They absolutely own the Packers. Kyle Shanahan's just a masterclass of a brain. You mentioned shaky QB situation, but outside of that, they're one of the best well-rounded teams in football. They got fantastic O-line, great receiving core, one of the best running games in all of football, and their defense is top 5. They got a stud at every single defensive
Sick jerseys.
Every single position. And pretty cool jerseys, and they're set up to win another division and be in the contention for the NFC title.
All right,
contender, Super Bowl contender.
All right, who's next
we should
on the
make
wheel?
Tiers for these teams, Cam.
We could do a tier at the end.
Tiers. Like the Colts are in the prove it tier. Raiders are in the maybe next year tier, and 49ers is contender. Gonna eliminate the Niners. Goodbye. And our second spin. We might do 4 spins next week just because we missed a show, but Panthers.
Tired boy.
I would love to start off with this team.
Panthers.
This is a fun one. Really, really fun team here. Eliminate them real quick so I don't forget. I guess I'll start off if that's fun.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go.
1. All right. So the Panthers, this is my pick for the NFC South this year. It's kind of a sleeper pick, but the division's a little weak. Just had Bryce Young, number 1 overall. I am huge on Bryce Young. I think he's going to be there for years. He's going to be that franchise quarterback. He's going to be like Cam Newton, but better. This team will win a Super Bowl under the Bryce Young era. I think this year they're going to take steps in the right direction. Their defense is one of the best in the NFC. It's like sneaky underrated, and I think in this weak division they could do something. Get into the playoffs, anything can happen.
Big thing to recognize about the Panthers is they did get new uniforms. They do have one of the richest owners who just got one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a little bit. Although they say everybody in next year's class is better. But I think Luke is right. They're heading in the right direction. They don't really have any wide receivers, really, but yeah, and he is very short, so we'll see how that works out for him. But it worked out in the SEC, so.
Yep. I think that was a little longer than a minute, but.
Yep. Minute 6 is what I got,
yeah.
or minute 7.
If I had to put this team in a tier, I would probably say the prove it tier. I put them in the same tier as the Colts, except they don't have. Actually, no, their division's probably.
I would just say rebuilding tier. I don't know if it's even prove it. It's kind of just rebuilding. Because I feel like Jets are proven.
They were close
you
last
know,
year to winning the division.
I feel like Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots would all be prove it. You know, Lions are prove it.
That's fair. Okay, hold on. We don't want to give away our whole preview here. The wheel spins. Okay, yeah. I get what you're saying though. Maybe put them in like the just young team tier.
Young and frisky.
I like that. Yeah. We didn't say anything about Frank Reich for the Panthers either, but that's kind
of we've talked about the Third Reich before on this show, so
yeah. All right, and that's the show. So thank you to everyone for listening. Episode 65. Make sure to tune in. I think we're gonna try to stay consistent with one show a week here, but me and Cam are gonna be out of town. Just throughout the summer. Just stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.